How's it going, everybody? Henry here. In this video, I'm going to go over how I made over $800 on podcasting. If this is something that you want to follow, if you're building a podcast or you're looking for ways to make extra income doing something you enjoy or love, subscribe to this channel. I have it pulled up right here. I'm going to continue making videos. This one in particular is like a weekend video, so I think it'll be helpful doing a weekly video where I update, what I made through the week podcasting. That way you can keep up with it and possibly that will inspire you to do your own podcast. So in this episode, we're really going to be talking about what I made from ad revenue. That was the main source of the income. So this is advertisements and sponsorships that played on the podcast and really how many downloads it took to get there. That way you can set a target for yourself so that way you make this money too. So go ahead and subscribe and like this video if you want to stay up to date with the content. So let's go ahead and go to my Anchor dashboard. So you can see this is my podcast. It's the Positive Mindset Podcast. I enjoy this podcast. I love doing it. And I'm very fortunate that it has started to earn money. Just like YouTube, you get paid per listens or per downloads, however you want to describe it on this. And so it's been really good. So the first thing I want to see is how much money that I made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my wallet. So this is how much I've made all time through Anchor. This is only through Anchor. So any kind of promotions or sponsorships that I've received out of this are not included in this. And I didn't make any this past week. I was actually traveling, so there was none for me to do. I recorded these episodes in advance. So it was just strictly from running the HostRed ad, which is just promoting Anchor at this time. There's not another one. And then also automated ads, which I believe this is still in beta. So only a few people are able to use it at this time. And so if you don't have this on your screen, then just keep doing what you're doing, build up your audience, just continue to build your content, and hopefully that's something that you will have access to soon. So that's what this part is right here. And I did get paid off of both of these this week, so it was a higher than normal pay. So what we want to do is access the Stripe dashboard. This thing is constantly updating and how it works and how it keeps information. So bear with me as I kind of walk through it. But what we're going to look at is past 7 days. So I did a payout this morning of $629.11. And normally I do a payout every Friday, which I'm recording this, but I actually ended up doing a payout on Tuesday. I was looking at it on my phone, and then I clicked the payout, and I just went all the way through with it. So I actually made $824.19 this week from podcasting, which is awesome. It's kind of crazy to think that. But on this paycheck or this pay, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be $629. And then since I paid out this morning, it's already gone back up to $11.74 from ads. I usually do it around 9 a.m. is when I pay that out. But you can see the activity. So the way it works is it pays like just kind of randomly throughout the day. It just kind of updates, goes into your Stripe account through there, and you can just kind of scroll down and see how that goes. You could scroll forever as it does that. That was the payout that I did there this morning, but you can see, it's constantly just dropping money in there, which is awesome that it does. It's kind of cool to look at. But yeah, so $824.19 for 7 days. And again, I'll update that next week. What's cool is next week I'll have some other sponsorships and stuff to add in there, so you don't just get it all from Anchor. And there's some dangers from getting it all from Anchor, and that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about, because in Anchor right now it's great. The HostRed ad, which pays $17.50, and then you have the automated ads, which pays $13 only on Spotify. So it only plays on Spotify that does that. So if you're broadcasted on other platforms, this does not count. So you don't get as much as this, but this week I actually got paid for this. So this pays out monthly. The automated ads totals all the way up for a month, and then it pays out near the end of the month. It was a little early. It's usually around the 25th, but it paid out, I think, on the 19th, which is a little bit sooner than it had in the past. But so this currently pays out monthly. This one pays out every second. Like, it's constantly updating. So if you want to know the difference, like how much of this number here, this $824.19 was of the one, then I can pull up my email here. So this is the email they send out when they pay. So for the automated ads, this is the new one, I earned $443.68. So that's for an entire month. So that was for all of December. on ad impressions, that was on 34,000 ad impressions to get that right there. So it doesn't pay as much, but I definitely would not turn it down. I did think that initially it was hurting my listens, but after doing some review, I ended up turning it back on. I turned it off because I thought people weren't listening, but then I went and listened to a majority of the podcasts that I was around on the rankings, and pretty much all of them had them, so I just put them back on. And so this probably would have been higher if I hadn't turned them off for a few days, but that's okay. I'm still thankful for it. So $443. So we have the 443.68, what I made there. And then if you take the Stripe, which was minus 824.19, so 380 was what I made from podcasting, or from the initial ad, and the rest was from there. So, normally 380 is definitely good. I've made more than that some weeks and some less. I did do more content. So this is the interesting thing that we're going to look at here is we're going to go over to dashboard so we can kind of look at the week. And now the thing to remember is this doesn't update necessarily to the minute when it talks about your weekly performance. So we're going to have this pop up here. So you can see this is where I originally peaked way back in October. Then there was declines, and then this is in October is when I turned those ads on. So I thought maybe that had something to do with decline, but it was more just seasonality of my podcast. I don't know if other podcasts were hit. Mine's in health, mindset, things like that. And I also work in fitness, and in fitness, October through the new year numbers go way down. So I'm thinking maybe it was the same. And then of course, January is a great time for fitness. Everyone's thinking about being their best selves. So probably for my podcast, it was the same thing. And it shot right back up to where it was. I actually had the best month. So last week, you can really call it, at least the last week was updated at 32,730 plays total. So that's roughly how I gauge it. So for 32,730 plays, I made roughly $800. Now, episodes wise, it looks like my estimated audience is about 5,000. That is down from what normally it is. And that's because I actually did more episodes. So if you go over to episodes here, the past episodes I uploaded were these 5 right here. So I had one for Friday, which was today. This one came out this morning. This one was Wednesday, and this one was Monday. So what I added in addition to this was 2 meditations that I put together. It was just something that I like doing for people. It didn't get me any more listens. So it looks like people kind of listen to one or the other. And that's what I found, that for me, the sweet spot was 3 episodes. So by adding these other ones in there, it didn't get me any more listens. And I certainly didn't, that wasn't the reason why I made them, to try to get more listens, because I figured, people check into my podcast for a certain amount of time and it wasn't gonna make a difference. It's just something that I enjoy. And that's the biggest thing that I can say. If you are someone that is trying to stay motivated in your podcast, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, change some of it up, because it's not going to always be a lot of money. And hopefully one day, if you're watching this, you'll make a ton of money and you can retire off of it. And it's just this, beautiful journey. But it's really hard to do it successfully if that's what your goal is. You can certainly, I think, have a goal of trying to make some money and enjoy this side hustle or whatever you want to call it. But if that's like your main motivation, it takes so long to, when you compare the amount of time you put into it to the results, it takes so long for that to go to the other side, to where you put in a little bit of time and get a lot on the back end, that you'll probably quit if you're only doing it for that result. You have to really like what you do. So sometimes, you do some episodes that are just for you, that you really enjoy, and they're not going to get as many listens. In fact, it hurts me trying to get sponsorships, because this number right here is how sponsorships generally pay you. So by me adding more episodes that I knew are not going to get as many listens, this dropped this down. This would typically probably be close to 6,000, but because those other 2 episodes went, it dropped it down. Thus, that would affect how much I would normally get paid. And that's like $50 or $60 per sponsorship less now because I have that. But again, I enjoyed doing those episodes. My goal is to do them on a separate channel. I just haven't figured out how I want to do that yet. The problem with Anchor that I'm finding is doing multiple channels, which I already have, is Stripe has a hard time linking with them, because it'll say you already have an account. And so you can't monetize a second or third channel, at least I haven't figured it out yet, through Anchor. So I'm looking at some other options. So, continue to follow along if that's something that you want to do. If you're looking like, okay, I'm going to have multiple podcasts, I have different things I'm interested in, how can I monetize these accordingly? Then this is something I'll be following along. The main goal here and what I want to do is I want to build up $10,000 a month in income outside of my work. And I want to share that journey. And the main part of that is through podcasting because I love it. But that's not everything. Say you love doing podcasting. There's a subject that you really enjoy talking about and you want to do that full time. Either you love your job, but you don't want to do it for the money. You just want to do it because you love it. Or you don't love your job and you want to follow your passion. If you could have $10,000 a month in income, I feel like that would give you the freedom to do anything. That is quite a bit of money for an individual. And so if you can make that, you can certainly expand into your passion. So along with the podcast, I'm going to try to take this money and put it into other things so that way I can build up this $10,000 of income, meaning past expenses. So if I make $10,000, but I'm having to spend $5,000 to do it, then that's really only $5,000 I'm making. So trying to get that bottom line revenue up to $10,000. So I'm going to share that on this channel too. So, follow along if you want that. I'm going to try some different things. I have some ideas of where I can take the money I'm already making and invest it. So that way I can continue to do more of this, continue to do more podcasts, more videos. I really like helping people. And so I want to be able to make more podcasts and not have to worry about, is this going to make enough money or, is there going to be a return on this? And I can just make it because it's something that I enjoy doing and I'm doing it because hopefully it will enjoy others. And so having that finance will be the freedom. Well, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe, share it if you know someone else that is trying to get on the podcasting journey and they need some motivation. Hopefully this will do it. Well, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time.